the homie C-Rod, and today what I'm going to be talking to you guys about is how Dragon Ball Super Card Game is relatively a cheaper card game to get into. You do not have to break the bank. You know, your freaking beautiful wallet does not have to go freaking broke. You know, you can still keep a little bit of cash flow in there, and still have a blast and go to tournaments and actually win the tournament with a relatively cheap deck compared to every other card game that I have played. You know, from past experiences, I played card games like such as Yu-Gi-Oh! And in those card games, gosh darn it, man, you have to break your bank in order to even have a semi-competitive deck. In Dragon Ball Super Card Game, man, I drop $100 and I could have multiple decks. Look, I got this this Shenron deck right here. I got this Shenron deck. I don't know if you can see it. I got Shenron right there. I got, you know, I got this deck over here, which is the Broly deck. This one is expensive. This leader right here actually is like a couple bucks. This one's like $20 for this one card. But, you know, the rest of the deck in here is not that expensive. So this deck is probably like a $40 deck, but it's a freaking competitive winning deck right here. Like, this is my Broly Super Saiyan 4 deck, and that deck wrecks too, and it's only for like $60 or something, and that's a winning deck. You can go to a tournament with that deck and you can win first place if your matchups are clean and, you know, you got the skills and you don't misplay. Like, I got another deck right here. I got a Zamasu deck, right? This one is freaking dirt cheap. This is like a $25 deck, and it actually wrecks a couple meta decks. Like, you can make a bunch of decks and have a blast depending on who, like, what you want to play. You know, if you want to play with just a buddy, then I would recommend, and you're trying to get into Dragon Ball Super Card Game, go buy yourself some starter decks. These are like $12. You know, you got the Goku, you got the Goku's lineage, the Piccolo. Pop these, and these are actually relatively good leaders as well, and you and your buddies can start playing for like $12, and it's a lot of fun, and this game isn't that hard to learn, honestly. And like I'm saying, like, if you want to get into Dragon Ball Super Card Game, you do not have to break the bank, and you only break your bank if you yourself want to break your own bank. You know, if you're trying to be that dude, and everybody knows this guy that goes to the tournament and has their entire deck foiled out. Shout out to Ulysses, because I know you're that dude that but even then, he still has a budget, and he just makes one deck all foiled out. This deck, like, this deck building in Dragon Ball Super Card Game isn't too expensive. Like I said, it's only expensive if you want to make it expensive. And unfortunately, if you want to get an all foiled out deck, you need to get alternative foil cards. What I mean by alternative foil, I mean you gotta get a card that comes in common. So like this Trunks right here. This Trunks right here is a common card. I don't think this card comes foil, but you could get the alternative version of the common card and get the foiled out one. So this card right here, if you get the playset, and the playset in Dragon Ball Super Card Game is 4 cards in a deck. So if you get the playset of the basic non-foiled out card, this will run you like maybe 25 cents for the playset. But if you're trying to get the playset hollow, this one's actually Tony G's. I gotta get it to him. But if you get the playset hollow of this card right here, it's gonna cost you a good amount, because like I said, the common version of this card, this Mass Saiyan, the Black Mass Saiyan right here, costs like 10 cents. The foiled out one right here, the one in my hand, costs like $5, I think. And if you want to get the playset, that's 5 times 4. That's, you know, $20 for just the playset. And you, like, honestly, I don't want to waste too much money on cards. Like, I got other stuff I gotta pay out, so I'm cool with just the common version, and then your deck, it'll come out super freaking cheap. Like, you don't have to, like, break your bank, and you could have a freaking, you know, not a freaking blinged out deck, but you'll have a freaking deck that's doing the same thing. Also, if you're trying to get into the competitive scene with Dragon Ball Super Card Game, it's not that expensive as well. You do not have to break the bank to go get a freaking strong deck and go to a freaking, I don't know, a regional and top. I know a bunch of those decks were maybe like around the $100 to $150 mark. And these decks are like the winning decks, if that makes sense. Like, these decks are the ones that are topping, and they're only $100 and something. I know for other card games, one card costs almost $100, and it's freaking crazy. And you would need a playset of each card, so your deck's gonna be costing over like 400, 500 bucks. Luckily, there is no like real meta deck that costs that much. There's one card that costs a lot of money, just one card, and that card is Mastered Ultra Instinct Victory Strike Goku. The reason this card costs so much is because this card automatically wins when it attacks your opponent, pretty much. So, and it deals damage. So this card keeps going up in price, and it just doesn't stop going up in price. But that doesn't mean that this card is the only way to win. There's so many freaking variants of decks out there that you could build a relatively cheap deck to counter that deck, and then your opponent's gonna be like, damn, I have a $400 card that doesn't do anything, right? And the beautiful part about Dragon Ball Super card game, and the reason why it's so darn affordable, is because the meta is so darn diverse. Meaning, you could take a Hercule deck, which costs maybe $100 something, to a freaking regional, top first place. Or you could take the announcer deck to a freaking tournament. If you have the right matchups, get first place. And these decks are not too expensive. Like I said, you can make them expensive, get every single card foiled out, and then maybe your $60 deck turn into a $400 deck. But that's only if you want to floss out. If you're trying to be that dude at the freaking card shop and be like, yo, check out my deck, cha-ching, money talks, man. But the money doesn't mean you're gonna beat the guy. You know, there's that guy playing with his budget deck right there, and he'll freaking blow you out of the water if he draws the perfect hand. And money doesn't make your, like, what I'm trying to get at here, this is the main theme of the video. Money, this is the key. Money, guys, in Dragon Ball Super card game does not equal winning. Dragon Ball Super card game is by far my favorite card game that I have played because it is so darn generous with your bank account, if that makes sense, and it's a freaking lot of fun. So what I mean by it's so generous, it means I mean that you do not have to like break your freaking bank, right? You don't have to get the freaking bank and break the freaking bank to make a freaking winning deck. That's the main idea of this. You do not have to break your bank account to make a winning deck. You know, you can make a $60 deck that counters what the meta is, and you're freaking winning. You know, and you can make multiple different type of decks. If you have 500 bucks on you, I don't know if not that many people just carry 500 bucks to waste on cards. You're gonna be able to make a bunch of freaking decks, and you're gonna be able to have decks for days. And the beautiful part about this card game is also that you could get like an old engine, like a very old engine, like let me see, like so I could show you, like my Broly deck, like my Super Saiyan 4 Broly deck that I made a video on. This deck is expensive because of the leader right here. The leader makes it freaking expensive, but this Broly leader right here, it's like 20 bucks. This is expensive, but the rest of the deck, which runs like Super Saiyan 4, if you guys haven't seen that deck profile, go check it out. It's a freaking amazing deck profile, and this deck could get you all the way to the first place, and it beats the meta. Like this engine right here, I've been using this Super Saiyan 4 engine since set 2, guys. I think it's set 2 or set 3, one of those sets, and that's like a long time ago, and they keep coming back. That's the beautiful part about this game. You can invest in a little engine, and that engine, you know, a new leader comes about, like this Broly leader, and you can just get the old engine, slap it onto this leader, and the deck runs smooth as hell, runs a lot faster, and you could freaking win a local tournament, or who knows, you could even win a freaking regional. And that's the beautiful part about this game. Like, you could get all your old cards, and they could just get a revamp. And this game isn't like Bandai, where, I mean, isn't like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where, like, let's say you want to make the best deck. You make the best deck, which is going to cost you like freaking 500 bucks or 400 bucks. If you really want to go to your regional and top first place, you're going to drop a freaking wad of cash. And then you still probably not going to even win first place. The beautiful part about Dragon Ball Super card game, you waste 100 something bucks, maybe 150, and you take a freaking top winning deck, you could go all the way to first place, and you could beat like the deck that's the most expensive, which is the Victory Strike deck, which is only expensive because that one card is really, really expensive. And the Victory Strike Goku. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to freaking let you guys know, maybe encourage some people out there that are trying to get into Dragon Ball Super card game, and just let you know it's freaking affordable. It's only expensive if you want to make it expensive. You're trying to be that guy just flossing in front of your opponent with all the shiny cards. And there are promotional cards. They can get a little expensive with the promotional cards, but honestly, it doesn't really get too expensive. They used to be expensive. Back then when the game just came out, one of these tournament packs was running, like one of the cards in there was running up to 50 bucks. I'm like, what the hell? But luckily now, the game's so popular, and it's easier for like shops to host more tournaments, that these are not that hard to get, and the game isn't that expensive to build. So I got one of these tournament packs for my local tournament that I went to. I'm gonna open it up, and like I said, one of the most expensive cards in this tournament pack is probably like $8 or something, maybe. So, and you could also get the foil or non-foil, so you could even go affordable if you want. Right now there's a really expensive card, which is that Goku's Lineage, but honestly, you don't even need that deck to compete in the meta, guys. You don't even need that deck. So, ooh, nice one. So what I got right here is YOLO Pool Vegeta. Let's see if the camera focuses on it. I don't think the camera focuses on time. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this type of video. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, get into Dragon Ball Super card game, because it is pretty darn cheap. And like we always say, y'all stay super.